Alright, the fourth lesson of substitution. This is honestly the last substitution lesson really, but it just involves the one where variables are on different sides. If you remember the process, then everything else should work out fine. When we saw variables on both sides, if you remember the algebra, what we were taught to do is to move the smaller x to the larger x, and we do that by using its opposite. So in this case, you want to move your 3x by subtracting 3x from both sides. 3x of course cancels. 8 comes down, 7 minus 3 makes 4x, and then minus 12. You then want to move the number away from x. Remember, you don't always have to move everything to the right. You want to make sure you move it away from whatever's there. So in this case, we're going to add 12 to both sides because that is a negative 12. 8 plus 12 makes 20 equals 4x. And then last thing we're going to do is divide by 4, getting 5 as our answer. Again, that is what we learned to do way back in chapter 2. It's also what we kind of reviewed on your test work that we did. There was a few questions on there that had you working those things out. So hopefully, again, that is in your memory because we need those things in order to be effective in this lesson today. So today what we're looking at is the ones that lead to the variable on both sides, because we're looking at the ones where y is alone on both of them. So I'm going to set it up the same way where I'm actually just going to take the top and substitute, but if you remember from our work, it doesn't matter where you put it. So what I'm going to do is put my 7x plus 9 over here equal to 9x plus 5. And again, once I substitute that, I now must solve. And again, going back to what we just talked about, we do that by moving our smaller x over. 9x minus 7x is 2x, because remember that cancels, plus 5. You then want to get the number away from x, so we move our 5 by subtracting it. And then you get rid of the number attached to x by dividing, getting the answer of 2. Again, it is very important that you at least have those basic skills. I'm not giving you anything really too crazy. Yesterday we did some distributive property. Today we're doing a little bit of moving the variables to the other side. As long as you're okay on those two levels, you don't have to be a solving master in order to do it. Just make sure you at least practice this so you have it down, because that's really as deep as it goes for this here. Again, in this question here, y's are both alone. I'm going to again bring this down, so I'm going to actually put 9x minus 8 equals 7x plus 4. And again, just to make sure you understand, it does not matter what side x is on, but it's best to move the smaller x, and the computer is actually going to ask you to move the smaller x. You bring down 2x minus 8 equals 4. Again, if x is on this side, that means I need to move the 8, so I add 8 to both sides, getting 2x equals 12. And the last thing I do is divide by 2 to get x equals 6. Alright. And then the last one, c. Again, both y's are alone, so I'm going to bring down my 2x plus 5 equals 8x minus 25. Hopefully now you see why it was important that you know how to substitute, because if you don't know how to substitute, this line here makes no sense to you. Either way, we move the smaller x, which in this case is the 2, by subtracting it. The 2x is canceled, giving us 5 equals, what's that, 6x minus 25. If x is on this side, that means we have to move the 25 by adding it because it's negative, getting 30 equals 6x. And the last thing we do is get the x alone by dividing by 6, getting our answer of 5 for that. So what you want to do is, again, make sure you get as much as you can out of today. It does not start here today. It actually starts with questions like this. So you want to make sure you get those done, and then it's going to give you a few of these, and then it's going to give you some review questions from yesterday. And again, just work as long as we're supposed to. It'll be probably about 15 minutes. And then we'll probably go back to the board and do some other things on the board, or do some things from a worksheet, who knows. But like I said, the main thing is make sure that you get that part done where you're actually working on this process, so you're ready for tomorrow and the rest of this week and getting ready for this quiz. So go ahead and go to Math Excel, and good luck.